Let's talk about Forbidden Door. Now, I am going to argue with you. Not argue with you. I'm going to propose the following. I'm going to say that I think I am going to deliver probably the most balanced Forbidden Door take that you're going to get going into this pay-per-view. Because I feel like it's extremely polarizing. But I think I'm going to go as I think this is going to be the most balanced perception of Forbidden Door moving forward. Now, I think the main talking point for this pay-per-view is how much people are disappointed in the card. Should you be disappointed in the Forbidden Door card as it stands, as it all came together over the past couple of weeks? I would say, yes, you are absolutely entitled to be disappointed. I think it's fair to be disappointed in the final makeup of this pay-per-view. Because, look, when this show was announced, everything popped into our heads. All the stars, all the potential dream matches, they all came raining down upon us. And this is a far cry from that. This is a far, far, far cry from, CM Punk versus Tanahashi, or Jon Moxley versus Kazuchika Okada, and Bryan Danielson versus Okada, Jon Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito. Like, we're not even in those waters. So, yes, I think it's absolutely fair to be disappointed in the card. Of course, injuries threw the biggest monkey wrench in all of these plans, right? CM Punk, I think, being the real stab to the heart. Bryan Danielson, I think, is a big one. Kenny Omega not being there, right? I think, to a degree, Tetsuya Naito, because he recently had eye surgery, right? For, I can't remember, detached retina or something. So they're probably like, no, we want to keep you around for the G1, because he was injured throughout the G1 last year, and he's like, that's fair. You cannot not factor that in to the card that we are getting this weekend. Now, one of the reasons I think people instantly got super pumped for Forbidden Door and sold out the arena without a single match being announced is because Tony Khan / AEW has been very, very good in promising big and delivering big. And I think I think we're in a position here, which is AEW being victim of its own success in that regard, right? If that makes sense. Because every time AEW said, we're going to bring you something big, they brought something big. So if Tony Khan, the bringer of big things, says we're bringing a big show, AEW New Japan, everyone loses their shit. Yeah, well, it's not quite delivering on that level. And it's unrealistic to think that every time Tony Khan says, we've got a big surprise, that every time it is going to be indeed a big surprise. I think we sort of felt it a couple of weeks ago. Now, he didn't say it was a big surprise. He didn't say it was going to, but when we had the mystery Joker opponent for Samoa Joe in the in the Owen tournament. Like every time there was a surprise, right? Every time there was a surprise, we're like, oh shit, it's something great. And then you get to the and you're like, oh shit, who's the surprise gonna be? And you're like, it's John Morrison? Okay. You know, not overly exciting, but a surprise, but you're like, So this is kind of it, but I think on a different level. I think this is one where we were expecting big dream matches. And this is not what we're getting. And to a degree, this feels a lot like a Japanese card, a Japan card, right? A Japanese pro wrestling card, a New Japan card, more than anything else. Multiple man matches and a smattering of singles, right? There's only two singles matches on this card, which is not to my liking. I have trouble getting behind that. Because ultimately, and look, Lance in the chat sort of said it, but I'm going to put it another way. This is a card which is going to be a great show. This cannot not be a great show. Too much talent, too many people that have stuff to prove. This is going to be great. But the card lacks, for lack of a better expression, it lacks sex appeal, right? It lacks that thing that makes you go, ooh la la. Moxley Tanahashi, it's a big time match, right? And there is history behind this. Moxley has legitimately been trying to get to Tanahashi for ever since he left WWE and started working Japan. This is what he's been angling for, right? It's a big time match. And if you're going to go big time, and at least try to deliver on one thing, it should be on a big match. I think this is the big match, right? It's as big as you can get. I still think the money match was CM Punk versus Okada. And I'm very disappointed because here's the thing. If you remember when we were talking about the potential of this and so on, one thing that got me excited was the politics of it, right? Those of you who listen know what I'm talking about. The politics, right? Getting their hands dirty, and Gedo, imagining Gedo and Tony Khan sitting in front of each other in a dimly lit table, and they're negotiating and, well, I'll give you this if you give me that. Well, I give you this if you give me that. I give you this. It's like the politics of this was something that I was dying for. And I think everyone took the easiest route here, politics-wise. I don't think there's anything really, challenging here. Because we had the scenario, right? Remember when I was talking about the scenarios and I was saying, look, imagine if Okada and CM Punk come in and they're both strapped. They both have the belts, right? Who do you put over in this match? Who wins? Gedo says, well, no, your guy's going over. Your guy's putting my guy over. And it's like, back and forth. And it gets complicated because it's the top guy in the company. He has the belts. And I'm like, but this is the kind of shit that that I get excited about, right? That I'm like, oh. And he started bringing in the big dudes. But here, everything feels safe. Everything feels safe. And it's not getting my blood pumping as much as I thought it would. It really doesn't. AEW Interim World Championship, Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Big T, nice to see you, by the way. Welcome to the chat. And hello again, Kristen. The Jon Moxley Hiroshi Tanahashi main event, that is the that's the main event. It works, and I think it feels like a big time match, and it's going to be a big time match. I'm excited for it. It's for the interim world championship. Now, the safe bet is Jon Moxley. But the galaxy brain in me wants Hiroshi Tanahashi to get the strap and hit the bricks back to Japan and do the G1 parading around with the AEW World Championship. I want CM Punk to come back and be like, I'm bringing my championship home. I don't want another pretender champion over on the other side of the world. Then we get the match. See, that would be the most compelling ending. I don't think it's going to be that, because right now, if I'm Tony Khan and I'm looking at all the injuries, the injuries that are happening right and left, I'm like, no, I'm playing safe, and I'm negotiating hard with Gato, and I'm like, no, Gato, it's my guy. I'll give you this, and this on the card, but it's my guy who wins the title. I think Mox wins. Chat, let me know on top of that who you think is going to win all of these matches. But I think the most interesting win is Tanahashi. I think it's the most interesting win, but it's going to be Mox. Then we have the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Jay White is going to be facing Adam Page, Kazuchika Okada, and Adam Cole in a 4-way match. And I can't stand this. This bugs me to the highest degree, and I don't know how this wasn't split up into anything else, into a tag team match, or why we didn't get 2 separate matches. Why not go Adam Cole versus Jay White? Here's what I don't understand. Adam Cole, Jay White, they're all Bullet Club for life. And right now there is a Bullet Club, there's still the Bullet Club Civil War thing going on. And that, from everything I've been hearing about, they're going to be pushing that storyline further into the G1. And we were told that there was going to be ramifications in North America as well. Have Jay White and Adam Cole fight for the belt, and have Jay White go over Adam Cole. Adam Cole is one of the top guys in the company. It's not a big deal. And they're Bullet Club, and it's a problem, and so on and so forth. And then give us Kazuchika Okada and Adam Page, which would have been a dynamite match, no pun intended. And who cares who wins or loses in this match? Like, it doesn't matter. Adam Page is not going to look like a chump for losing to one of the biggest stars in the world. One of the all-timers as far as wrestling goes. And Kazuchika Okada losing to Adam Page is like, no big deal. No big deal. It's going to hurt Kazuchika Okada to lose to Adam Page. Give me a break. How can you hurt Kazuchika Okada? Why couldn't we? This is where I'm telling you, they took an easy way out on this card by doing these multi-man matches. And multi-man matches for a championship in New Japan just does not happen, especially for the top prize, for the heavyweight championship. They just don't do it. This match feels like a cop-out. All Atlantic Championship match. Malachi Black versus Pac versus Miro versus Clark Connors, as we said earlier, who's replacing Tomohiro Ishii, who got injured. I mean, good for Clark Connors. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. This is unquestionably the biggest match of his career so far. This is unquestionably the biggest match of his career. And this match is going to rule. This match is going to rule. Black, Pac, Miro, just fantastic stuff. And Connors, if you don't look, Connors, he's still fresh out of the dojo. He's finding his sea legs with his in-ring persona, and I think he's a power guy. He's gonna fit into all of this. It makes a lot of sense. It sucks that Ishii's not in it. Ishii is very much over with the North American crowd. He would have got a huge reaction. Clark Connors he's gonna have to win the audience over here. He's gonna be nervous as hell. Are you kidding me? Big time opportunity for him. To me, and I see in the chat, a lot of people are very pro Miro, right? Oh, Miro takes this. And I'm like, sure. But frankly, this could go, I think Clark Connors is the outlier here. And I don't think Clark's taking the pin, to be honest, in this one. You could strap any of these guys and it makes sense. You could strap any three of these guys. Black, Pac, Miro, Pac. It's not Pac anymore, it's Pac. Any one of these three. But if you put a gun to my head and you're like, hey, Warren Hayes, you need to pick or else I'll shoot you in the brains. I'm like, wow. I don't think Miro is going to win because I think right now, with all the injuries that are going around, Miro feels like a top guy that they could push up against Moxley. But look, you could make the same case for Pac or Malachi Black. I honestly don't know. It can go any way. But whoever is not winning here is probably going to get the little boost, up into the upper card to go challenge Jon Moxley, I think. Then we're going to get the AEW Women's World Championship match. Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm on this one. I'm excited for this match. I'm excited. There's 3 singles matches. I apologize. I said there was 2 earlier. There's 3. Rosa and Storm, I'm excited for this. These are 2 amazing athletes who have both spent time in Japan. These are both excellent workers. I think this is going to mesh well together, and we're in for a treat. I think Thunder Rosa retains, but we're going to have a good time in the meantime. Winner takes all IWGP World Tag Team Championship match. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship match. FTR, your Ring of Honor champions, versus Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan of the United Empire, your IWGP World Tag Team Champions, versus Roppongi Vice. Of course, made up of Rocky Romero and Trent. Not crazy about the triple threat status here, the 3-way, the whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of bugs me. Unless you do this, but do like tornado tag or something like that. Like just get some bodies flying around. We'll see how things go. But I'm doing prayer hands. Chat, prayer hands up in the chat. Prayer hands up. FTR, man. FTR. Look, hey, El Gato Pollo Loco in the chat. How nice to see you. Took the words right out of my mouth. They're too hot right now. They're just too hot. They're just too hot to not do it. Right? You saw the reaction that they got at Dynamite again yesterday. The Ring of Honor titles, the AAA titles, they get this on top of that. And why not just go straight for the Bucks when you get home and just win the whole, just belt them all. FTR are on a roll. 2022 is their year as far as tag team competition goes. It's just been too hot, way too hot. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this because FTR is going to win. Roof is going to blow off the place. And you know what? This match is going to fucking rule. And I am so excited for all the haters and all the doubters to see Great O'Khan spread his magic. There's a lot of people have this really weird misconception about Great O'Khan. And I was a skeptic at first. He won me over. Versus Roppongi Vice. But technically, if you ask me, this is another easy way out match. Because it really could have been FTR and the United Empire guys. But guess what? Roppongi Vice are there to eat the pin. So that neither of the other teams look weak. Another easy way out here. The IWGP United States Championship is going to be on the line. Will Ospreay, current champion, without the belt, held hostage by Rockhard Juice Robinson, versus Orange Cassidy. I think the match, right, the rumor is that the match was supposed to be Ospreay versus Andrade, but then Mexican wrestling politics got involved and shut that down, which is a bummer. But I don't even see this as a consolation prize. I don't even see this as a, well, at least, we get, this has the potential to be match of the night. This really has the potential to be the match of the night. Will Ospreay right now is, well, look, he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he is having an extraordinary 2022. There's no other two ways to put it. Every match he's had has been great to excellent. He's just been hitting every note. Orange Cassidy here, he's going to turn up, and I'm convinced these guys are going to put on a hell of a show. And I think this is the show stealer. This is the match that everyone is going to look back on and say, yeah, nothing tops this. This is going to rule. I think Will Ospreay retains, but it's going to be a blast. Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara versus Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. Okay. Like, I get the connections. Don't get me wrong. I understand how this match came together. I understand the connections. I just think it's weird as hell. Did we... Look, no disrespect. Did we need Sammy on the card? Did we need Shota Umino on the card? Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston? But look, Jon Moxley's other son is on the card, so that, that's good. Sammy is Sammy, I guess it's fine. You get a payday, Sammy. But, this match is shoehorned to get people on the card. This is how it feels like. And it's like New Japan cards where you have, the trios matches, the 6-man matches to open up the shows and so on and so forth. And you're like, why are all of these people together? Well, there you go. We have Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. I talked about that extensively earlier. And if it is as big a surprise as Tony Khan is letting on, then this will very likely be the winner of the match. I think it's kind of overshadowing. Zack Sabre Jr. a little bit, because a lot of people in North America maybe are not familiar with his work, and they would be very deserving to get to know his work. I think this whole surprise guy is sort of overshadowing that, but maybe once we get down to the nitty gritty and we start, this match will be as good as Saber's opponent. And then we have the Bullet Club team of the Young Bucks, El Fantasmo, and Hikuleo. What the fuck? Versus dudes with attitudes. Sting, Darby Allin, Shingo Takagi, and Hiromu Takahashi. Which rules. Look, Shingo was happy. He tweeted that he was happy about the match. Good for him. Because he was like, yeah, I get to fight the Young Bucks. That's what I wanted. Me and Hiromu. There's no reason for this to suck. I don't know what Hikuleo is the odd man out here. He's really the odd man out in this situation. The Jacksons, El Fantasmo, fantastic workers. Hiromu as well. Shingo, Darby. Sting has the presence, but Hikuleo, man. See, it feels like a little shoehorned as well. And then we have the buy-in. The Gun Club and Max Caster taking on the DKC, Kevin Knight, Alex Coughlin, and Yuya Uemura. Look, for me, the Gun Club and the Acclaim, it ain't doing it for me. It ain't doing it for me. I know a lot of people think it's the greatest thing in the world and the scissoring shit and all that, and people are like, yeah, this is great, and the raps and all of that. It's a little too sports entertaining for my tastes. It doesn't do it for me. It doesn't connect at all. Plus, on top of that, I want y'all to know something here. You know, Austin Gunn, the minute the Fed comes calling, he's hitting the bricks. That kid he's made for WWE. He's waiting for the big call. For sure. They'll love him. They'll take good care of him. You know who I would... Here's what I would have done. Why wouldn't you have put Hook with a dojo guy? Right? Why wouldn't you have put Hook against one of the young lions, right? Still in the black trunks and little booties, right? Have him plow through him. Wardlow. That's a fun little pre-show right there. I don't know. I would have enjoyed this more than what we're ending up getting here. But I get it. Like, the Gun Club are over with the Acclaim. They're over. You know, they're making people laugh. I think it's pretty entertaining. But I think Wardlow is much more fun to watch. Hook is much more fun to watch. Have him come out. No Hook and Danhausen on this card. That's kind of weird to me. A little weird. And there's another match, and I'm legitimately going to ask you, chat. There's another match for the buy-in that hasn't been announced. It's going to be announced on Rampage, though. But I'm aware of the spoiler. Would you like me to tell you what that match is? Would you like me to tell you what that match is? Otherwise, if you don't want to be spoiled, I'll move on. We're getting yeses. I'm going to drop it. We're getting Keith Lee and Swerve versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado, which I'm kind of excited for. Kanemaru and Desperado, just a couple of scumbags. I love them. Keith Lee and Swerve, they're probably going to push the storyline where Swerve and Keith Lee are sort of, on uneasy footing here. I'd see Kanemaru and Desperado getting the win over the AEW guys, because Swerve is being a dick. I think so. So that's the pre-show. So the thing here is that I look at all the people on this card. I see all the talent. I see everyone. This is going to be a great show. But I get anyone who's disappointed, anyone who's like, this isn't what I was expecting. You're absolutely right. As I said, Forbidden Door lacks sex appeal. Now, if they want to do this again next year, first of all, it has to be a success, right? It has to be a success on pay-per-view, which I think it's going to do very well. I think it's going to do well. At first I was like, you know what? This is probably going to bust through the 200,000 buy mark, but I don't think so anymore. I don't think it's going to draw in enough. I don't think it's going to draw in enough people to buy it and watch it. I don't think so. I think but it's going to be in the upper range. It's going to be in the upper. It's going to be lower than 200K. Let's say, if I'm conservative, I'm going to say 140,000 buys, and if I'm bullish, I'm going to be like 160. How about that? 140 to my ceiling is 160. If it does better than that, then good. But like the card lacks a lot of oomph to attract the pay-per-view buyers, which was always my contention. I was like, look, the card is the show sold out. All they have to do now is ramp up the card so that people will spend the $50, $60, whatever it is, to pay for it. Go right ahead. I don't think they did it. Like, the hardcore AEW crowd is going to buy it. There's going to be people in Japan, but I think that's a separate deal, because I think the pay-per-view buys are going to be, like, for Japan is a whole other thing. It's being handled on New Japan World, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd assume that's New Japan's money on their end and AEW here. But if they do this again, because Tony Khan said he'd like to do this every year. Next year, people are going to be naturally hesitant to do a blind buy, I would say. I think there's going to be it might not sell out as quickly. So if they do it again next year, now we have to avoid the easy way out matches. Now we got to sit down and be like, look, we're getting our top singles guys into one-on-one matches, and Tony and Gato have to negotiate, and they have to be bastards with each other, and we need the politics.